Mona is a welder, and there was welding equipment at her house. There were some other things. There was a trash can there, and inside that trash can there were some items that looked like a body. Where's Mike? You can answer to what some of that other evidence was.
Certainly.
This is Officer Mike Miller. You can come on up. He did the.
Thank you, Captain. Good afternoon, everybody. My last name is Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R. My first name is Michael. I'm a detective in the Homicide Division. I was one of the detectives to interview Mona Nelson, and I can tell you she is a cold, soulless murderer who showed an absolute lack of remorse in taking the life of Jonathan Foster. There are a few cases that impact homicide detectives in this manner. This is one of them. There are guys that have worked homicide investigations for a long time. This is one of the cases that they were impacted by. As the captain was speaking of, once we arrived at her house, we stumbled into a wealth of evidence. Evidence that showed that Jonathan's body was burned at the residence. Evidence that showed perhaps the items that he was burned with. Evidence that had us fairly shaken up in collecting it. There's a lot of detectives that helped work on this case, and of course our thanks go out to them, as well as the support we've gotten from nearby agencies. We took all that evidence that we obtained from her house, as well as the videotape evidence and the interviews of her. That evidence was, of course, combined and presented to our district attorney's office with all that evidence based on what it was, and capital murder charges were taken against her. I think that's pretty much all I have to say.
We want to know, I think the whole city, and we appreciate what you did, by the way. The whole city is asking me and everybody in this room, like, why?
That's obviously this question has come to our mind as well, and I'd like more than anybody else to tell you up here, because the first thing a homicide detective does in a case is we find out why. There's always a why to everything. And in this case, for me to stand up here and tell you the why in this, I'd be guessing at the motive. The reason is because we have to have more of an investigation. We have to finalize some results with our medical examiner's office. Further details have to be addressed. I could sit up here and I could guess for you, but that wouldn't do anybody justice in this case, especially the family.
How do you think, how is it believed that you said there's no accelerant on him, how is it believed that Jonathan died?
Well, obviously, if there's no accelerant, gasoline, kerosene, or such, another method must have been used. As the captain spoke of, there were acetylene torches that were found at the house. We've collected those. We'll be testing those to find out if they could have been the instrument that was used to burn Jonathan Foster's body.
There's a possibility he was
not. We've already conferred with the medical examiner's office, and that possibility does not exist.
Okay. So did they know the cause of death?
Not at this time. They're still working on that as well.
What are the chances that there are any other suspects out there? Or are you confident that she acted alone?
I am confident. Mona Nelson provided a statement to us implicating others as well as herself. Those others we put under the microscope, and we've interviewed them at length, documented every second of their day. They weren't involved. She acted alone in this crime of her own disregard for human life. She decided to take Jonathan Foster out of our world.